So
excellent. Could you give me like your definition of socialism?
yeah,
Like I said, I haven't been very involved, and I probably couldn't tell you the difference between like communism and socialism and all that kind of stuff. But I do
oh
always
sure.
hear kind of demonized from more of the right leaning people as like a
Sure.
bad thing.
Well, here's the thing, and for good reason, right? So socialism, this is the funny thing. Um, what I'm primarily interested in ideology and how it functions, right? And the current way people look about this thing is they talk about the idea, and then they look at people that have written about it, but they look at it separate from how it functions in the public sphere, and they're two very different things. So I honestly would say that if you really want to understand what socialism is, we should look at how people use the word. And I think how they use the word in public is as a very low resolution kind of heuristic, a way of signaling an idea of a more cooperative, pro-social economic system. But underneath that, people have different, tighter definitions of what that means. So a formal definition of socialism would be something like, collective ownership of the means of production, right? Or where the means of production are owned by the public instead of by the private enterprise. But my take on that is that that's more of a Marxist position. And if you look at the history of socialism, the first socialist, the first person that people associate with inventing the idea, was a guy named Charles Fourier, who early French socialist who didn't even use that word, right? But kind of laid out this rather eccentric and fanciful vision he had of a society based around universal wealth distribution and voluntary labor. A very intricate and kind of utopian vision he laid out. And later on, later on into the 19th century, people like Marx and Engels came along, and they actually actively denounced Charles Fourier, and they've said these people are utopianists. They're sort of a bourgeois fantasy. Really, what socialism is all about is about a revolution of the working class in order to overthrow the capitalists and bring about communism. Right? Very different framework. So unfortunately, the hard problem of ideology is that when you say things like socialism or capitalism, it really depends whose definition you're going with. And that's why personally, I don't like to use these words anymore. I try to talk about what are the policies, what are the economic policies that we think are going to create the best results for people, for everyone. And that's why today I would much rather consider myself a basic income advocate. Just because I'm advocating for a specific policy, a specific state-market relationship that I think optimizes human prosperity. And if you want to call that socialism, great. If you want to call it capitalism, great. But, that's neither here nor there.